I remember in primary 6, right, my friends all thought that maybe I could be the master of ceremony for a school event, you know. So they convinced the teacher to give me a chance to do an audition.
Nice.
But they didn't tell me. So they said, Jensen, come. I said, oh, come, what? Then they brought me to the teacher. Can I read this passage? Halfway through the passage, the teacher said, thank you very much, you can go already. Yeah, so it wasn't natural, it wasn't a given. Then I learned from people to do hosting, and one of my friend who was a very veteran host at the time, I said, hey, can you teach me? He said, yeah. I said, when? Tomorrow. So where? On stage. I said, okay, let's go.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was the first experience. I went out on stage with him. He was speaking in English. It was a charity event, and then he said, can you just say some words of Mandarin? Okay, so I went on stage and I basically spoke very little. Yeah, but it was an experience. So I think that life will give you opportunities, and when the opportunity comes, you always think that you're not ready. Yeah, there's one part of you that will say you're not ready. There's one part of you that will say want to try. So at that moment, I just listen to the part that say I just do lah. Nothing else can happen. Anyway, nobody knows me what. If I plug, so be it. Yeah. So
death has always been a certainty.
That's what I like about Angjolie. It has to be a certainty.
Endless topics that we can talk about.
Dying to meet you.
Welcome to my podcast.
Yeah, then I went to Polytechnic. So I still remember in the Polytechnic day it was bad because I wasn't doing something I like. That's why I always think that we should focus on something that we are passionate about. You should be doing something you like. Yeah. So anyway, I went in. Of course, it was a struggle because I wasn't interested. I wasn't keen. And I still remember I was that kind of student or that classmate who is always alone. Eat alone, go everywhere alone, do anything alone. Yeah, Lone Ranger kind. Yeah. And there was this, and I don't like to follow the crowd to do something. So I remember in Singapore Polytechnic, there was this canteen. So we were at the business administration building, so the IT department. So there was this canteen, and I was there eating my food. When it started to pour, the pour and the rain all came into the canteen. Okay, everybody was like, wow, trying to run away, move away from the rain. Then only one silly guy still sit there and continue eating his food. The back against the rain. Yeah, the back against the rain. Well, I saw no point moving. Everywhere you run is yeah. I just said I finished, and when I finished, so just like about to finish, because the only guy seated there in the rain was me. Everyone was looking at me and gave me an applause. Yeah, that wasn't intentional. Yeah. So then after I finished, I just went off. So I think everyone will have those days or those moments where you feel that you're not understood, or you are lost, or you try very hard but you're not getting the result, or the people who are closest to you may not understand, and you're seeking for an answer. Okay, some people say the lost sheep, you're lost somewhere, and we have been lost somewhere somehow, and it doesn't mean that today you have found your way, you won't be lost again. You will be lost later. So I think finding ways, seeking answers is like always part of the life's journey.
Exactly. I think, I enjoy the part about law of duality. I think if we never gone through hardship, we don't appreciate what success is, right? And then, so sometimes when people ask me, why does this happen to me? And then I remember, going for some motivational talks, and they say that whenever you hear yourself saying, why does this always happen to me? Instead of saying that, change and reframe your mind and ask yourself, what do I need to learn from this? So then you switch, because the minute you keep saying, why does this happen to me? Again, you'll go through it again, because your mind hasn't expanded. Your mind just keep locking yourself in there. So I can relate and resonate with you, because I used to be a Lone Ranger, so I'm very active on the morning trails. But then because I was bulimic, so I didn't want to let people see when I eat. So I'm quite private, but then yet at the same time, when I need to do something, I will do it. But then I'm always 独来独往. So like I will go home, walk alone. People want to come and, hey, let's walk back together. I said, no, I want to walk alone. I want to explore this side of the garden. And a lot of times I have to sneak out. Like we are all in a group, and when I know okay, it's about the end, everybody wants to go home already, I will quietly walk away so that nobody will say, hey, let's walk together, because I didn't want to be with anybody.
Those boys want to work with you?
Oh, I was fat then. Nobody likes me then. I was very fat.
Can you ask your editor to put in this picture during the show?
Yeah. Before and after. So I have a photo. I always show this was my heaviest, and then spot me. So nobody can spot me in my class photo. I was really grossly overweight because of some incident that I started to binge eat. So within like 2 months, I gained 10 kg. So I had a nickname that was my name, Mei Mei. Mei Mei, right? So everybody was like, hey, Mei Mei 变丑丑, Mei Mei 变丑丑.
I think a person's lowest point is not determined by the circumstances.
Okay.
That means you can't say that, hey, this person you only owe the bank 20,000 versus that person owe 400,000, you are the lowest. Or hey, you only fail one subject, but the other person fail all his subjects. Because the lowest point is using the emotional measurement, not a physical measurement of one kind. You know? So the lowest point to any one of us would be the point where you hit the rock bottom emotionally and you almost cannot see any way out. The almost cannot see any way out would be the lowest. And I still remember there were times where I was just lying on the floor, that cannot do anything kind. Yeah, it's like physically, mentally, you're just on the floor. And you are totally drained of any kind of life in you. Yeah, so if you're watching this and you are there or you've been there, you will totally understand this. Then the coming up, I think, is people always say that there's the lows and there's the highs, right? And again, the highs cannot be measured by how much money you make, how successful a business you become, how high you climb the corporate ladder, or how financially abundant you are, how big is your car and your house now. Because that is also one of the signages of your life that, okay, there's made a signpost that you reach already. Okay, then move on to the next thing. It might just be one of those things. So maybe instead of saying the highs, is the route to taking responsibility of your life and moving up, so that you become a seeker of answers and someone with a mindset that continuously grow yourself, you see. Even today there are challenges, but it's working through every single challenge. So instead of saying that one has a high, no, I cannot measure my high by, I spoke to 26,000 people, I was standing on the stage with 5,000 people, half of the class after that improved in their sales and whatever. No, that shouldn't be that high. Okay. In fact, the high today that I would like to measure, if I use the word measure, is the depth of understanding about how I'm leading my life amidst the chaos and the fears and the doubts and the war and whatsoever. You know, that means it's like we can sit here, drink wine, but the rest, whatever the world is taking place, happening, you know, but it doesn't have to affect you. Yeah, that I think is a level of high. You know, not how much money you make, another $1 million here, you buy another sports car. Yeah, that one can bring a bit of exhilaration. Yeah. This understanding that I took away was, you know, you can be very motivated with negative energy. That means you're very angry with all your relatives look down on your family, didn't look down on you, so you charge forward and want to prove yourself. And you could prove yourself. But by the time you arrive and you have proven yourself, you would have done two things. Number one, you will have led a few years of very negative life and with negative energy and plowing yourself into work and whatsoever you were trying to do, even your studies. So you live a few years of unhappiness. And by the time you arrive then and you have proven yourself, you still actually carry the same resentment, even though you have proven yourself. Yeah, so it doesn't end. You know, it doesn't end by just arriving. And some of you would have been aware of that I thought by the time I arrived here, I achieved this, then it's over, but it's not. You still hold on to certain negative emotions, you are still resentful towards certain people. Now that you are just, last time he was here, you were here, then now you achieve, you are here, he's there, but you're still resentful towards him or her. So that doesn't change or shift anything really. So instead of looking at how the other person has caused me or the other thing has caused me, which is very easy, okay? By doing that, we are losing power to them. Yeah, we lose power to the person. And if you ask yourself, the auntie, you change the auntie who said that to you and made you feel resentful, you change the auntie's face, change the auntie's name, change the auntie to an uncle, the speech itself is the one that made you feel resentful or made you feel a grievance. And in that moment, it was because you related to a part in you. That or a pain in your parents that made you feel that way. Now, but you cannot change the auntie. Even if you move the auntie away, someone comes and take over her place, you still feel the same. So instead of trying to change the person, prove the person wrong, okay, why don't you shift how you receive that? The word is receive, not resist. So you receive, embrace that, and let it work within you. But all this only come with a bit of age. When you're young, you don't do like that. What you say? The ego comes out and the ego speaks. Then you down a few more wine, then you want to say the wrong things. If you ask, so what's one of the best ways to live life? I think is just like a parent, right? We try to give the best to our kids, protect them. But I tell some of my participants, I tell some of my coaches, I said, I know my children will face challenges, will face difficulties, will face pain. And sometimes I tell my kids, I will let you go through the pain because pain is one of the best teachers. You see? So I think one of the mindset that we can have in leading lives, which I think few motivational speakers will tell you this, but it's expect disappointment, expect pain, expect difficulties. When you expect to be disappointed, expect pain, and expect difficulties, whether you expect or not, they will come. But when you expect them, when they come, at least you know, it's within my expectations, within what I am able to conceive and handle. So,
You see, you get free motivational sessions with Jensen today.
From this episode of Dying to Meet You.
Yes.
I don't know what made you click on this podcast, or click on this YouTube video.
His handsome face.
Perhaps it's you are an ardent fan of Dying to Meet Me, and you've been searching for that meaning or that purpose or that answer. And I like to share that I'm continuously seeking. If there is one thing that I need to do or you need to do now to find the answer, is to do the next thing that you know what to do. Don't worry about 10 years later, 5 years later, even don't worry about next Friday, okay? Because when we live in the future, we are constantly worrying. You can be anticipating, but you're worrying, you're afraid, you're doubtful, you're uncertain. And that puts your entire perspective or entire being in a shaky, uncertain mode. So if I could leave a simple word, is just do the next thing that you know you need to do. The rest, let it happen and take care of itself along the way. By the time you get there, you will have the answer.
Wow, that's brilliant. So there you have it, Jensen with us with some not some, but many motivational nuggets that I learned a lot today too. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm so glad that I found a fellow lone ranger here. So next time, if I spot someone sitting alone in a movie theater, I will see whether it's you.
You can text me, is that you?
So cheers everybody, and we hope that you enjoyed this session, and looking forward to the next few episodes of Dying to Meet You. See you then.
See you.
Ciao.
Death has always been a certainty.
That's what I like about Angjolie. It has to be a celebration.
Endless topics that we can talk about.
Dying to meet you.
Welcome to my podcast.